Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Agra. Agra is a huge, difficult game. It's sitting in that 4-level area of Board Game Geek, so I find myself wanting to like this game a lot better than I actually like this game. I'm not sure if it's that I've honestly been struggling with the rules on this one. I've read this rule book. I have looked through it. There's always a spot that I come up against that just doesn't quite feel right. Doesn't quite have an understanding of it. I've got all the rules right as far as I'm aware with the video, so please have a look through. If you notice I've made a mistake, please comment on those mistakes or that mistake or whatever. This is just a huge game. This is one of the few games I've actually had to watch other people's videos to understand it, and I still have this kind of thing going on whenever I've come up against it. I have, however, managed to play it a few times before doing this video. I've sat on this game for so long. This game came out in 2016, I believe. It's a 1-to-4 player game, but I haven't seen that much about it. I heard one of my podcasts talking about it just a few weeks back this year, so it's 2018 at the moment, so it's taken this long for them to talk about it through listening to podcasts, and I've been listening to podcasts for a while. No one's really talking about the game, and I don't know why. I think that it's a strong game. I think that it's got something to it, but I also think that it's missing something, or it's trying to do more than it needs to do. In playing it, as I say, I've had 3 plays of it. The first 2 plays have both stopped before we've got to the end. One because of time and I'm a bit bored, and the other one because I really don't like this game. And that's a problem for me. When we finally played the whole game all the way through, the final outcome was actually really close for the top 2 people, and that's a great thing. That's a really good thing. I find myself wanting to like this game so much. I really do want to like it, but I find that there's something wrong with it. I'm not sure what it is. The other people who have spoken about it have spoken with this love for it, but I actually can't put my finger on it. If you're someone who loves this game, please comment below and say why you love the game. There's so much going for it. I think that's what it is. If you look at the board and everything on the table, it takes up a huge amount of space, and you can see that in my next few videos to see how much space it actually takes up. If you look at the board itself, it's beautiful. It's beautifully designed, beautifully crafted. I do find, and this is something I've heard many other people speaking about that they dislike with the game, that the lines going from one place to the next are really hard to see. The spots that you need to put the pieces in are really hard to see. That's a really important thing. I think that should be a little bit easier to see, but the design of the board is so beautiful that you kind of don't want to get in the way of that, and I'm assuming that's what the manufacturers or the designers have done. They've tried to kind of go, oh, this is a beautiful board, keep being beautiful, but we need to show you this line. And there's something that doesn't quite sit right with it. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of areas that play slightly differently, and I think this is actually part of the reason I really like the game, but also part of the reason that the game is trying to be a lot bigger than it is, or is trying to be way more complex than it needs to be. And there's another board over here, and there's this bit, and there's rules. I mean, if you look at the front of the rule book, it has a listing of where to find the rules for the things that you're looking for. The back of the rule book has a listing of the things that are available to you to do, and the order of things, and it's a real quick cheat sheet. I found myself going into the rulebook more often than I wish to with this game. It's just, there's so much going on. I think it's really hard to kind of hold it in your head. I'm sure there'll be someone who'll be able to hold it in their head, but having all of that stuff in your head at the beginning of the game is really hard. And having to go back into the rulebook is a problem for me. The essence of the game is that you're putting workers out to add stuff onto a space. That space can then grow into other areas. That's fine as a game in and of itself. But below that is a track that has different things that you're trying to collect. Great. So I can work on this and work towards that. But and this is the big but, there's also another board where you can put your things or things that you're trying to collect over there as well. And suddenly you've got this thing of, am I going for that board? Am I going for this board? Which is, for in and of itself, is fine. I like that way of playing. But having that split attention is actually quite difficult. And there's something about the split attention that I'm not sure which path I'm going for. That's, once again, it's fine. See, everything I'm saying here seems fine. In and of itself, it seems fine. But when you combine all the things together, suddenly becomes... there's just something a bit crunchy about it. The game itself carries on too long. You can pick which of the 4 resources you're trying to build up and pass on through to the higher end of those resources. But there's also then the 4 characters across the top that tell you to do other stuff. So there's a character there that will actually tell you to talk to the or to manipulate the river board, and you can sell goods or pass goods straight down into the river, and if you fulfill a card, you get that card as a bonus. And then there's another one that changes the value of stuff. So when you're changing between levels on your board, you're looking at the value of those things. There's another one that there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, on top of that, there's also a pre-turn and anytime during your turn. And all this stuff I think there's just a little bit too much happening in this game. Having said that, I kind of want to like it. I think I said this before. I want to like this game so much better than I do. And it pains me that I don't like this game as much as it shows, because everything about it feels like a game I should like. There's just something about this one that's holding me back from knowing what's going on, from being able to manipulate what's going on. As I said, the game that we finished, I won it. I won it by about 3 points. It's so close, super close game. I was convinced that the other guy was winning. And that's one of the really good things that this game has going for it, is that the money is points. You keep your money in a pouch, so it's impossible to look around the table and see what points everyone is on. There's points that come into you at the end of the game. And once again, it's kind of like you could work it out, but it's going to take a heck of a long time. The amount of points that are passed out to you all the way through, there's little bits. It's like, it feels like a game that should only be coming up to 4 or 5 points, but I think that I got around the 60. There's a huge discrepancy, and I really love that about the game. As you can hear, everything that I'm saying, I really love about games. I really love about every game. So why not this one? I think it's just that it's trying to put too much into the one box. See the size of this box. It's a regular size box. It's a little bit thicker, but you know what? There is no air in that. There is no air in that. That is next to a full box. A lot of the space is taken up by the boards, but it's a next to full box. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful game on the table. Once again, I should love it, and I want to love it so much, and I just don't. Look, go on and watch my videos, watch my Gamesplains. The first one is the basics of your play. The second video is the extra stuff that you're able to do. So there's meditation that you're able to do before your turn if you've moved along that track. And there's other stuff you're able to do during your turn. That's all in the second video. The first video is your basic turn. And then there's a gameplay of a few turns worth, up to kind of giving you an idea of where points are coming from, or up to getting some cards from the river. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. What I do find with because it's a 2 to 4 player game, a 2-player game is a lot easier than the 4-player game. I think this game is built for 4 players. You're covering up a few of the things on this other board for the 2 and 3 player game, and I think that, I don't know, there's something about that just feels like, yeah, it's balancing the game, but it feels like a better game with 4 players. The problem is that then with 4 players, it becomes a longer game, because everyone gets their turn and they just kind of stare at it for a while and working out what they're trying to do and kind of in their head. And you tend to find that there's a lot of sitting, waiting on this game. Theoretically, it could go very quickly, because your turn could look like just putting a thing up and taking, like, I don't know, I've created 2 goods, so I'll put 2 things there, and that's your turn. That could be your turn, but your turn could also take a lot longer than that, because there's so much extra stuff that can be done, that can be manipulated, and you'll find that happens the more you go into the game, that you're manipulating more and more stuff, so you're actually doing a lot of stuff on your turn. I remember that my final turn in the last game that I played, it took a really long time, simply because I was trying so desperately to get a last thing on the river, and I couldn't quite get enough resources down to it, but I was so close to being able to do it. I was just trying to nut out a way to get those resources down there. I've said this before, all of the bits of this game feel like I should like it, but I think that it's trying to do too much. I actually think that's the problem with this game, is that it's just trying to be too much. If it took one thing out, or was able to take 1 or 2 things out, then I feel like the whole game would actually come together and be a lot of a flowy game. It would just play a lot easier than it currently does. And I'm sure that I'll come up against some people who say, I really love this game. Look, I really love heavy games. I love heavy games. And amongst my favourite games, if you go back and watch the video, I think I'll put a link to it, is the Vita Lasada games, the Lisboas, the Gallerus, Vinhos. All of those types of games are heavy games. They all have a lot of stuff going on. They all sit really big on the table. All of this stuff looks like this, but there's something different with this one. Okay, look, I'm going to leave it there. I'd like to thank Advent Games for lending me this game so I can have a play of it and can get a real grip of it before I do the video for it. I'm sorry, Advent Games, that I've taken so long to get this one to the table and therefore to the videos, but there it is. If you're Australian, please visit Advent Games at adventgames.com.au for any of your gaming needs. Anyway, if you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be gamesplayed, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.